What's up, everybody? John Hoover, AllSooners, here with Ryan Chapman, Randall Sweet. We just covered a 66-17 blowout at the University of Tulsa. Oklahoma comes into Tulsa, rolls the Golden Hurricane, 66-17. I gotta believe OU leads the nation in scoring margin at this point, or scoring offense or something, after hanging 73 on Arkansas State, 66 on TU. They're doing this against FBS teams. Might not be very good FBS teams, but they're doing it against an FBS schedule. That's a good thing, because next week they go on the road, for real this time, a real road trip. They got to get on an airplane, they got to fly to Cincinnati, and they got to start Big 12 conference play for the very last time, guys. Ryan, what'd you make of today's game?
I don't know where to start other than the turnovers, Hoove. Last year, everybody remember 1998, how much that came up. This year, 2003. That's the last time you saw an Oklahoma secondary, Oklahoma defense as a whole, have 5 interceptions. That's exactly what happened today. Tulsa's not Texas Tech, maybe about 3, but that's what happened. It started with Gentry Williams on the first offensive possession of the game for the Golden Hurricane. Kendall Dolby got in on the fun. Danny Stutzman a pick 6. Trace Ford almost a pick 6. It didn't matter. Every single level of the defense. Key Lawrence rounded that out. Lawrence had the 4th. Then Trace Ford finished it out. But this Oklahoma defense, Brent Venables talked about it after the game. Bad throws, good throws, doesn't matter. You got to make your layups. And today, if the ball hit them in the hands, Oklahoma caught it. Peyton Bowen might have been able to add 2 more as well. It's crazy. We're going to talk about a 6 turnover day as Jaren Kanak added a forced fumble. Oklahoma might have had 8 in this game if Bowen had caught either one of those. Not a huge negative, but just a really impressive. You talked about scoring margin. Turnover margin might be something the Sooners are up there as well.
Yeah, I would think that they're up there in turnover margin. 6 total takeaways today. Ted Roof reminded me in the press conference, I said 5. He said, no, we had 6. Do you think these defensive coordinators don't count? They absolutely keep count of that stuff. Roman Fuller got the start for Tulsa today. He's the 3rd string quarterback. Braylon Braxton injured. Cardell Williams not ready to go, I guess. I don't know. Roman Fuller comes out and throws 3 picks in the first quarter. Last time that happened was the Cotton Bowl against Kyle Trask and the University of Florida. Well, Cardell Williams comes in and looks like dynamite. First 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. He opens the 3rd quarter, leads them down into the red zone, and they have to settle for a field goal. Would almost been 3 touchdowns. They were that close. Brent Venables not all that happy with the way the defense played in that stretch.
Yeah, I mean, when Cardell Williams entered the game, OU's defense at first really looked shell-shocked. They didn't have an answer. They blew multiple coverages up front, or not up front, on the back end early on in his time in the game, and that resulted in 2 easy touchdowns. I mean, wide open receivers in the end zone. And I mean, Brent Venables acknowledged that they were busts in coverage, and but again, when Cardell Williams came in the game, OU's defense for those first 2-3 drives had a lot of trouble stopping him, and it was a real night and day difference from when Roman Fuller was in the game. Now, Cardell Williams does provide a little bit of a different dynamic at the quarterback position. He's much more athletic. He's a much better runner, dual threat guy than Roman Fuller is, and I think you saw how that kind of hurt the Oklahoma defense, because even when they pushed him out of the pocket, he would scramble each direction and made multiple plays doing that. And that's interesting, because next week, Hoove mentioned that OU takes on Cincinnati. Emory Jones, who OU has seen before, is a very mobile quarterback, and they're going to be tested again in that department next week. So these struggles against Cardell Williams, while they were able to figure them out and get them sorted out, they kind of put him under duress later in the game after they kind of adjusted. Emory Jones is probably going to be a tougher test than Cardell Williams next week, and so after seeing how OU's defense performed this week, they'll have some things to clean up heading into Cincinnati next week.
Yeah, and if you want to continue the nitpicking just a little bit, the running game was a little bit empty again. Javante Barnes gets the start, goes the distance basically, 13 carries, 68 yards, scored his first touchdown of the season, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Gavin Sawchuk came in, got 9 carries for 25 yards. Where's Tyree Walker? 21 carries for 117 yards last week. Brent Venables said he wanted to get those other guys going. That's how you build depth. Take the starter out, I guess, and put the backups in and get those guys some carries. That's how it worked out today. But that's it, Ryan. All we got to say from this point on is nice stuff. Dylan Gabriel was on fire.
Gabriel's on fire, and the weakness of this Tulsa team was their passing defense. Jeff Levy talked about the running game. A little bit of that was the matchup. Oklahoma only had 16 called run plays through the first 3 quarters. That shows you what did they want to do. They wanted to air it out, and oh boy, did Gabriel air it out. 28 of 31. He goes for 421, 5 scores, the 1 interception. He got planted in the pocket. The protection needed to be better. Jeff Levy said he was pleased with the protection. Outside of that, Gavin Freeman was able to work back to the ball. But other than that, Dillon Gabriel was quick. He was efficient. That's something Jeff Levy said he loved, that it was either the first read, boom, make the pass, deliver it in there, or if that wasn't there, he was quickly scanning the field, making those decisions. And Hoover, it's crazy to think, as good as Dillon Gabriel was today, maybe leads a couple more of those deep balls. Andrew Anthony might have gotten into the end zone. It could have been that much more explosive.
500 yards, yeah.
It could have been over 500. So Dillon Gabriel, I'm sure he'll talk on Monday or Tuesday about a ton to clean up, specifically those deep balls, but everything else, the deep balls, he wasn't missing by much, and when he was missing for completions, not overthrows, not underthrows for interceptions, things like that. That's the stuff that you like to see, especially headed into playing a really good defensive line in Cincinnati next weekend.
Believe it or not, guys, that was Dillon Gabriel's first win after 2 losses against University of Tulsa. He came to Tulsa twice, or he played Tulsa twice when he was with UCF. Tulsa got him 2 times. Tulsa's 2-0 against him before today. He said that came up. I talked to someone one of the coaches down here on the field before the game. They said, you think he doesn't know that? You think we didn't remind him of that all week long, that he wasn't 0-2 against Tulsa? So that was something that was in the forefront of his mind, and he admitted as much after the game and post-game interviews. But he kind of didn't have a choice today. He had a lot better receivers here today, Randall, than he did when he was at UCF, because that was his question mark. That was the question mark coming into this season. What is it today? Oh my gosh, these receivers are unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously, heading into this season, a lot of people questioned OU's receiver room, and rightfully so. I mean, we did ourselves. This was a very inexperienced group with a lot of guys who hadn't made plays for the University of Oklahoma or in general in college football. Today, those guys made plays. I mean, it was the first time that OU's had 3 100-yard receivers since 2012, the Bedlam game that year, which is remarkable in and of itself. I mean, you think about the talented receivers that have come through the University of Oklahoma since then. Some of the great offenses they've had. So that in and of itself is amazing. I mean, Nick Anderson, obviously, 3 touchdown catches, over 100 yards. Jaleel Farouk goes over 100 yards in the receiving game and the return game. He also catches a touchdown where he breaks a tackle, gets into the end zone. And then, of course, Andrell Anthony, another great game. He goes over 100 yards. He has really been a great piece to that Sooners receiving core. That speed that he has is just game-breaking, and I mean, we've seen it over and over again. They love to get him the ball early in the game, kind of shock the defense right off the bat with that jolt of speed, and it's worked all three contests so far. Now, Drake Stoops also caught 2 touchdowns. I think he ended with around 8 catches, and we even saw Jaquez Petaway get in on the action and catch a pass or 2 later in the game. All in all, the receivers played great. Nick Anderson looked borderline unguardable, and once they get the ball in his hands, I mean, at 6'4", 200+ pounds, good luck for these little defensive backs tackling him. I mean, that dude is a load to tackle when you're trying to bring him down with just your arms. We saw that today. He broke multiple tackles on his way to the end zone. The Sooners, if these receivers can continue to play like this, they're going to have some real stars in at pass catcher.
3 catches for 3 touchdowns for Nick Anderson.
Randy Moss.
After the game, Nick Anderson was the last one to come out and talk to the media, and he said, I owe it all to Schmitty, I owe it all to my teammates and my coaches. Very humble. He said he had several dozen family members here, including Rodney Anderson, his big brother, who said he was very proud of him. How cool is that?
It was huge. If you've been on Twitter, you saw the reaction.
Yeah.
Rodney Anderson, hey, family section, walk out. Watch out. Those fist pumps are coming hot and heavy.
Did Levy talk about the gadget plays?
No.
To Jackson Arnold, because Jackson Arnold got 2 plays at quarterback, actual quarterback, threw a 50-yard touchdown pass.
One to Nick Anderson.
He did talk about the Arnold package, that they've left a lot on the field so far, something that they're going to continue to work on, but Jackson Arnold looked very, very comfortable when he came in to start drives there, especially, like you mentioned, that first one where he came in as not just the Arnold package, but as quarterback, that 50-yard bomb to Anderson.
It's nice that they turned the lights on for the end of our video. We appreciate that. TU, man, they always got you in mind. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because my daughter went to school here, played soccer here. That's how it goes. Hey, keep it here at AllSooners.com. We're going to have it covered. All 3 of us are going to Cincinnati next week. We got our plane tickets. We got our bags almost packed, right? You're packed? All
No.
respect. Close. I know you are.
Oh, obviously.
Yes. So we'll be at Cincinnati, but we'll be in Norman the first couple days of the week, bringing you press conferences, bringing you coach press conferences, player videos, interviews, all that good stuff. And this week, I'm feeling better. We're going to see if we can podcast, which we'll do up here in the press box shortly. The AllSooners postgame podcast. Check that out. I'm going to let you guys get out of here. For Ryan Chapman, for Randall Sweet, I'm John Hoover. We'll see you guys.
Wait. We're on to Cincinnati.